All right, we are live. Can everybody see me and hear me? Um, I'm doing this through Restream again. Unfortunately, it did the same thing where the chat is now showing the wrong chat. So maybe I'll try to fix that. I don't know if I'll be able to on the fly, but YouTube continually makes a second stream when you start the stream versus when you schedule the stream. So I must be doing something wrong, or Restream is stupid. Um, we're gonna try a few things here. That is really annoying. This should be very simple. It tells you exactly how to do it. This should be very simple, actually. All right. So, how is everybody? Can you guys at least hear me and see me? Oh, we snuck it in. All right, this will just have to do for now. I don't know why the chat is stupid, but it is. Nothing I can do about it right now. I need to look up some stuff on Restream to figure out why this keeps happening. However, I do know that the stream to Facebook is working, or at least it should be working. Yes, it is. So we are streaming to both locations at once. Now, the rest of the stuff is messy, and I'm going to have to try to figure that out. Okay. DK got ejected with like 3 minutes left when the game was already over. Okay. Gonna let people pile in for a little bit longer. Not too much longer. Witherspoon did not come back. Witherspoon did not come back. Doesn't... My understanding is that the Avatar game sucks, Cameron. It didn't get very good reviews and nobody's really talking about it. It kind of looks like Diet Far Cry or something. Really, I've heard nothing but glowing praises for the Avatar game. It's not getting good reviews. I know that. Okay. All right. So let's just get underway here. Um this is a pre-game or post-game video stream for the Seahawks Niners game earlier today. And it was kind of a lifeless game for me. I mean, the team showed a little bit of fight. The team didn't play terrible. The team did do a little bit of stuff in the positive. I'm not furious, but it does speak to how bad things have gotten that we can lose by double digits to a division rival, and I'm just kind of like shrugging my shoulders. So Offense played okay, I guess. I think the offense was okay. I mean, they have their backup quarterback in there. What do you think they're going to do? Like they did what they could, given that um they got their Drew Lock in there. Lockett played a really good game. Metcalf had a really good first drive, and then we never go back to him, even though he's getting open against the backup cornerbacks on the Niners, which is a bizarre decision on the part of this quarterback and offensive play calling and coaching, just all the way around. That's a weakness you can exploit over and over and over again. We see DK getting open, and he never gets the ball. The running game mostly non-existent, other than one drive where Charbonnet broke off a couple of good ones. JSN did not have a good game. Offensive line started out pretty good, and then it got away from them as the game went on. I don't have any one person to single out on the offensive line, but nothing really looked like it was working all that well. Tight ends had a good game, I guess. Noah Fant made some nice plays. Parkinson had a really cool touchdown. And that's really about it for that, I guess. Oh, Dak goes down. Um, Offense was okay. Like I liked some of the stuff that the offense did, and some of the other stuff left me disappointed. But at the end of the day, 13 well-earned points by the offense is all you can reasonably expect when you have your backup quarterback in. Like, what else are they gonna do? Defense, pretty atrocious. 530 yards of offense for the Niners. 28 points doesn't look that bad, but I really don't put a ton of stock into even that. Like to me, the 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 turnovers were the main reason why they didn't drop 40 on us, and both turnovers were kind of fluky. Julian Love punching the ball out, barely tapping it, and it just somehow rolling out of Ayuk's hands, and then Ayuk running the wrong route, leading to a tip that Julian Love picks off. There was a little bit of QB pressure, but not that much. So overall, I think the defense played atrociously, and it just this game like really highlights the fact that Pete Carroll is just completely washed up. And this season has to highlight it as well because right now, the Seahawks defense, I believe, ranks 29th in the league in points per game allowed. I think it's 29th. It might be like 28th. That is the lowest rank we've ever had when Pete Carroll's been here. We have never, this is the worst defense of Pete Carroll's tenure. And the amount of talent that we have compared to, say, the 2020, the 2010 team, the 2011 team, or even like the 2018 team is off the charts. So if that doesn't prove beyond any reasonable shadow of a doubt that Pete Carroll needs to get out of here because he doesn't know what he's doing anymore, then I don't know what will. Nothing really to say on special teams. Dixon punted well, I guess. We made a field goal. There were some things about our process that I didn't like very much, but I don't know. It was just kind of a game where I think that the team kind of showed up, but also kind of didn't. I don't really know how. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting tired of always being upset. Maybe I'm just getting tired of always being pissed off and they've beaten me into submission. But I wasn't that mad after that game. So I think that's a pretty decent summary. So I'm going to go ahead and start opening it up to comments in the chat now. There's 100 people here, so we will start in on that. I'm going to start looking at the chat. Um, and thank you to everybody for coming out tonight to spend your evening with me. A couple things that you can do to help me out. First, like the stream. We have 19 likes and over 100 people in the chat. Takes less than a second to like the stream and helps out a lot. You can sub to the channel if you are new. We are 100 subscribers away for the end of December goal. Unfortunately, the team is doing so bad that the goals are pretty easy to reach, but that also means it's pretty easy to reach them. So the end of December goal is 15,200. If you want to go above and beyond that, you can donate via three methods: super chatting, tipping, or pledging to my Patreon. All the links are in the description. And super chatting is just click the $ in the chat. I'm going to reply to as many comments as I can in the stream, but if you super chat or tip a message, I'm guaranteed to see it and respond to it. Otherwise, it'll just depend on how many messages we're getting and how many people are in here. It'll be just kind of up to random chance. Um, you can become a channel member for $2, $5, or $15 a month. Click the join button down below. And I think that's really about it. So, yeah. Okay, so let's, I'm going to start looking in the chat here. Outside pitches to Charbonnet worked very well, yet we only did it like 3 times. Well, you know Pete. Pete loves his A gap and B gap runs. He wants to run it up the middle. That's what Pete likes to do. Run the ball up the middle, throw the ball to the boundaries. So it doesn't really matter if it's working. Like, we hit a touchdown on a throw over the middle to Parkinson. Do you think that's going to let Pete know that we need to start throwing the ball over the middle a lot? No. You think Pete's going to look at that and go, wow, I should learn from that? I should now throw the ball over the middle more? Because we we had success on this play. We got a touchdown on a fake double screen and then throw over the middle? No. We don't do that. How many times are you going to say that? What do you mean, John? Those 9.94 yards per play by the Niners is 14th highest in NFL history. Yeah, and I got people in my comments trying to tell me the defense played good today and everything was the offense's fault. Like, it blows my mind. Like, I wonder if Pete Carroll knows how grateful he is. I wonder if Pete Carroll knows how lucky he is that parts of this fan base are dumb enough to actually believe that narrative. Do you think Diggs and Adams are likely to get cut? At this point, I think so. I don't know how you justify keeping them around. The only thing is that I think Pete has an irrational love for those guys. He thinks they're amazing, despite all evidence to the contrary. So, quite honestly, if they're still here, I wouldn't be shocked just because Pete thinks they're great, because he has it in his head that they're really good players. Miles, thank you for the $2 tip. Brendan, which QB do you think Seattle will go with in round one? I don't think that. I don't think we're going to draft a quarterback in round one. I think that's unlikely. Remember, Pete Carroll doesn't believe in rebuilding. He said that like a year and a half ago at the combine. He said we don't believe in rebuilding. So he's going to want to draft a player that he feels like is going to help the team win now. And that's not a quarterback because I think he still likes Geno, which I have no problem with. But I do feel like that he's probably going to try to find a player that he thinks provides an immediate upgrade, like a left guard or a defensive lineman or a linebacker. How would you feel bringing in Staley as DC when he gets fired? It doesn't matter who the DC is, guys. It doesn't matter at all who the DC is. It means absolutely nothing. So we can, I mean, the only hire we could make at DC would be somebody like Vic Fangio. Because Vic Fangio wouldn't come in here to be a puppet. He would come in here to run his defense. Do you think that if we lose out from this point on, the fan base will force Jody to tell Pete to retire? Um, I really think people need to understand how little billionaires care what random average everyday people like you and me think about anything. I do not think that Jody Allen cares one iota about what the fan base wants. The only thing she would care about is if people stop going to games and stop spending money on the team. And even then, it wouldn't happen immediately. Colby and Reed will be better, faster, younger than Adams and Diggs. I think you're right. Is Dallas really going to put this game away? Wow, man. What is up with Philly? The only thing that can happen, I think, is that Pete retires. Like, Pete could retire. He could just be like, well, I guess I can't cut it anymore. We should be able to put up some points on this Eagles defense, honestly. This Eagles defense is cheeks. I mean, look, a couple weeks ago, Pete Carroll said, put it on me on getting this team back on the right track. Put it on me. So I'm going to put it on him. What's worse, our defense being this bad or Philly's defense being this bad? Because Philly's defense probably has more talent than ours, and they're bad. And our defense has talent and is atrocious. Nothing Pete says in his press conferences suggests he's ready to quit. That's what I'm saying. Like, people keep, like, copium. People keep, can't get off the copium of thinking that losing these games is going to affect whether or not Carroll's here next year. It's not. It's very unlikely to. That's a pipe dream. If you actually think that losing these games means we don't have Carroll next year, then you're just I think you're delusional. We tried this 2 years ago, it didn't work. What do you think about Love saying we have the right scheme? Well, Love wants to be here next year to make that money, so gotta kiss some ass. Yeah, Sean Desai sucks. We can at least say we got that right, I guess. Brendan chances Pete really looks at going a new direction on defense this offseason. It's not happening, guys. It would have happened by now. I'm sorry to have to say this, but there is no hope for this team until Carroll leaves. There is no hope. We can be a decent team. We can be an okay team. Maybe we can be good. But there's no, in terms of us getting to where we all want this team to go, it's never going to happen because, I mean, he's just stupid. That's the only way I can put it, looking at the way he's trying to handle things right now. Thank you for the $2 tip, Anonymous. Imagine if Marquise Blair didn't get injured. Pete hated Marquise Blair. I don't think it would have mattered. Pete hates Marquise Blair. He refused to play him no matter what. Like, I don't think that's making any kind of a difference. Drafting Penix or even May or Nix is not going to help. Yeah, I don't know why people think that quarterback's a problem right now. Like, any quarterback that we can draft is not going to be any kind of an upgrade over what we have right now at quarterback. Jaden Daniels as a rookie is not going to be better than Geno Smith next year. And if you think that, I think you're delusional about what Geno Smith is right now, a pretty good quarterback who is vastly superior to all but the best rookies in the NFL. How do you feel about our defense's effort? I feel like they don't try some plays. I mean, there were definitely some plays where Adams and Diggs just do not give effort. And I'm so ready to do something different. Like, I was happy about last year. I was happy about last year, but you got to admit, if we had gone, like had a 4-win season last year, and we got 2 picks in the top 5, our pick and Denver's pick, like, I will acknowledge that maybe that's the way you have to go about things. Maybe at least that would have forced us to make some real changes. I don't know. I really had a great time last season. I thought last season was great, but now I'm looking at it like maybe you do have to just rebuild at some point. Maybe you do have to have that one bad season that Pete doesn't have the courage to go through. And also, I think somebody said this up above. Russell's not winning comeback player of the year. It's guaranteed DeMar Hamlin. Come on, guys. He died on the field. He was dead. And now he's playing football again. It's definitely going to be him. Miles, thank you for the $1 tip. Do you think Purdy's success is because of him or his team around him? Oh, it's 100% the team around him. He has the best stuff to work with in the entire league. He has Shanahan's playbook. He has McCaffrey. He has those receivers and tight ends. Like, it's not even... It's no doubt in my mind. Like, Purdy's pretty good, but I don't think he's special. Like, I think if you put Dak Prescott in place of Brock Purdy this year, you'd see about the same stuff and probably better. Can we please stop playing Evan Brown? You know, Cameron, that's exactly emblematic of the stuff that I was just talking about a minute ago, where I was saying we need to maybe go through a true rebuild, a full-on rebuild, because Pete is so obsessed with winning every single game that he can, that he doesn't ever want to play the young players just to build experience. He always wants to play veterans because in his mind the veterans are more reliable than the young guys. Like, I think any good head coach would have benched Evan Brown by now and put in Oluwatimi just to see what Oluwatimi has, just to get him some experience for next year because Evan Brown won't be here next year. But instead, he keeps putting Evan Brown out there because he's like, oh, that's a veteran. I can trust him, and I really want to win a game. Derek Hall's another example of that. Now, today, I think Derek Hall played more, but there have been a lot of games this year where he doesn't play. I understand he's not very good, but the defense can't get worse. Like, this defense, let me hold on. By the way, guys, again, sorry the chat isn't showing up above my head. That's just because Restream is giving me problems. So, as of right now, the Seahawks defense ranks... Let me make sure I get this right. 28th in points per game allowed. 28th. That is worse than any. That is worse than any result that Carroll's ever put up. And with this kind of talent, it's not okay. Like, this team has so much more talent than the 2010 team. It's ridiculous. And by the way, while we're here, since everybody likes to crap on the offense, let me take a look here. Okay, our offense is currently ranked, I think, 18th in the league in points per game. Yeah, we are 18th in points per game. Well, actually tied for 17th would be more accurate. So we have an average offense. So this idea that the defense is only bad because the offense doesn't do anything, it's very clearly not true. And yet people will still try to convince you otherwise. Like, think about the talent on that 2010 team. That 2010 team had Lofa Tatupu right before his legs fell off. Like, his legs were literally falling off. It had Chris Clemens. It had washed-up Lawyer Malloy. It had rookie Earl Thomas. That's it. Like, that defense had no good players, and it was worse than this one. Aging Leroy Hill, yeah. Like, David Hawthorne was probably the best player on that defense, honestly. David Hawthorne. And that defense is better than this defense. Well, Bradford's actually been playing a good amount, Upo, but only because Haynes got hurt. If Haynes didn't get hurt, then Haynes would be playing. That's the problem that I have. Like, in Pete's mind, he wants to play his veterans because he trusts them more. That's why he never played Marquise Blair. And that's why we're not playing Oluwatimi. Like, we might need a center going forward. I don't think we need a right guard anymore. I've seen enough from Bradford to feel very comfortable about him being our right guard going forward. But we need to see Oluwatimi. And I think any competent coach would just play Oluwatimi these last 4 games and see what's up. Give him a chance against Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox. Give him a chance against maybe Jeffrey Simmons. Give him a chance against, even lesser interior defensive lineman just to see what he can do so you can get a feel for this offseason, but he's not going to do that. I think Devin Witherspoon alone by himself has more talent than every player on the defense in 2010. Would you be upset if we traded up to draft Caleb? We don't need to talk about that, Michael. That's not going to happen. Like that's got a 0% chance of happening. But no, I would not be upset at all. I think Caleb is that good. I think Caleb is the guy. How did you think Woolen played? I thought he played good. Woolen sucked. Woolen needs to learn how to tackle. Woolen needs to figure out this tackling thing before it derails his career. When Witherspoon went out, I was so mad our D might have been better with him. Oh, I'm sure it would have been, promise. It would have been better. But I don't think that makes what happened over the next several minutes okay. How do you feel taking Jaden Daniels with our first pick if he falls down to us? I'm okay with it, but I'm pretty sure by the time we get to the draft, there's going to be something else that I think would be better. I don't know for sure. I don't know. Jaden Daniels is now being talked about like he's a top 10 pick. I'm a little suspicious of that. This guy was going to be a UDFA before this season. Now, after one season, he's a top 10 pick. I'm always a little suspicious of those guys. But I don't know. I'm going to say it again, guys. Pete doesn't believe in rebuilding. Pete is very short-sighted. Oh, Miles, thank you for the $1 tip. I saw Oluwatimi in person at the game. He's a lot bigger in person. Yeah, he's physically capable of doing all this stuff. And honestly, at this point, he's probably not worse than Evan Brown. But in Pete's mind, he is. Because Evan Brown's a veteran. Because that means something. Well, anyway, Pete is not going to be willing to rebuild. Pete wants short-term results. He wants to win now. So he's not going to draft somebody who doesn't play immediately, I don't think. Not in the first round. He's going to take somebody in the first round that he thinks is going to help us now. And if we keep Geno, I don't think he's going to be thinking I need a first-round quarterback to sit behind Geno for a year or whatever, because that's not going to help us win now. Was Woolen coverage today? I don't know. Hard for me to believe any of them played good with how badly we got beat. Brock Purdy almost threw for 400 yards. I think we'll draft a quarterback eventually, but I don't think it's going to be early in the draft. I think we're going to try to fix the immediate problems with this team. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm pretty sure Pete is not a guy who wants to address future problems. He wants to address current problems. John maybe could go the other way. Maybe John would be able to change things up a little bit. Do you think we can re-sign Locke for $3 million? I'd like to keep him. Maybe. I don't know why he'd take less. I hope we don't. I really hope we don't. I gotta be honest. We need to go a little bit cheaper and get a rookie. How much is Geno getting paid? It depends on how you look at it, Chas. Like, this year, his cap hit is $10 million. Does Jarek Reed deserve a start when healthy? He's not going to be healthy this year. He tore his ACL, so it's not going to happen this year. In general, if you just mean if he was healthy, then I'd love to put him out there. But again, Pete won't do that because he wants to play his veterans. Like after Jamal Adams gave up that touchdown, do you guys remember the play where he kind of just didn't bother trying to tackle McCaffrey, where he just let McCaffrey run right past him. Like, that's a play that probably should have gotten Adams benched. He literally just, like, stood there and watched McCaffrey run by him. But Pete won't do that. Schneider cannot fire Pete. Schneider cannot fire Pete. There's no way. Pete hired Schneider when he got here. I don't think Pete would hire a guy that then has power over him. That doesn't make any sense. Jesse, Jesse, I don't know why you care so much about our star wide receiver's personal life, but I'm tempted to wonder if you're trolling when you say something like his sex life. Like, why do you care about DK Metcalf's sex life? Like, what? Like, there are 101 things wrong with this team. DK Metcalf's sex life is not one of them. Why does Schneider stay when Pete doesn't do anything well with the team he puts together? Good question. I don't know. But again, we don't know exactly what Pete and John do. We don't know exactly how it's divvied up. We can only make assumptions. And I've made many assumptions. Is he not a terrible role model? No. I don't know why you think that. I don't know why you think he's a terrible role model. Like, I don't know where that comes from. What do you think of DK getting ejected? I didn't care. The game was over. And he's obviously very frustrated, which is reasonable given the fact that he got open all game. Like this looked like a Jerry Jeudy game because all Jerry Jeudy does this year is get open down the field and never get the ball thrown his way because Russ is already bailing out of the pocket. That's what DK went through today, so he was pissed off. I get it. Tariq Island, thank you for the $4.99. I think Pete no longer gets the guys motivated. Woolen, Jamal, and Diggs play with no effort. This is why I have no problem with DK and JSN's passion. Yeah, I kind of like that too. Like, I mean, what JSN did was kind of dumb because, like, it looked stupid, but it seems very backwards to me to complain about that stuff right now. Like, we have real problems on this team. DK getting ejected with 3 minutes left in a blowout is not one of them. Like, that's such a small footnote of what happened in this game that spending like more than 2 seconds thinking about that game, thinking about that element, is such a waste of time. Yeah, what Warner did to DK, I understand why DK wasn't happy about it. Everybody yelling fire, but no one has an idea of who to put in their place. That's not true at all. Miles, thank you for the $1 tip. Out of all tight ends on this team, who stays and who goes? Bound on to Washington, BTW. I think all three tight ends should go. I think all three tight ends should go, and we should refresh the room. We can't afford it. Still waiting to hear what the guy does to bring anyone up around him. He's supposed to be a leader, right? Well, no. DK Metcalf is not a leader. Do you think a football team is made up of like 30 leaders? No, each team only needs a handful of leaders. And you're going to have some guys who aren't into it the same way the leaders are, but that's okay. The leaders pull them back in. You don't need him to be a leader. You need him to be a good player, which he is. Like, if you hire somebody after Pete who is worse, then you fire him too and you go get somebody else. Why is that so hard? What's so wrong with that? Like, we have leaders on this team. Guys like Gino, guys like Lockett, guys like Wagner, guys like Diggs, theoretically. I don't know if, and you can't build a whole team out of Boy Scouts, guys. You can't build a whole team out of Boy Scouts. If you try to do that, you're not going to win. Think about all the personalities we had on the Super Bowl team, guys. Were those all great people? Were those all great leaders? Like Michael Bennett jumping off sides every other game? That's the least of our concerns right now. We have real problems. Let's not invent some. All right. Let's see here. DK is grown as man and stronger than most of the LOB. Doubt that. Yeah, that's true too. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you're going to have some wild cards on your team if you have a good team. That's just the way that it is. And his stuff is not that bad. Like, believe me, the stuff that DK Metcalf does that draws fines and the occasional flag and very rare ejection is not that big of a deal. Who's the head coach you'd like to go after if we had the opportunity? I mean, Harbaugh's interesting for sure. Ben Johnson's going to be interesting, although what is going on with the Lions? What is going on with the Lions? The Packers going to win that division now? What would you do in day one of the offseason if you were GM? Well, fire Pete Carroll. Get rid of Diggs, get rid of Adams. Make an evaluation on Dre'mont. Make an evaluation on Julian Love. Make an evaluation on Lockett. Did you see any adjustments or improvements on defense in this game compared to the last? Well, it was better because we forced a couple turnovers and a few punts. But I don't know about adjustments. I think the players just executed a little bit better. Should we trade Lockett this offseason? There's no way you would be able to. He's an old wide receiver. Those guys are not worth anything. And he's on a huge contract. But, guys, Lockett is still a good player. Like, I know he's probably going to be overpaid next year. But the best thing we can do is figure out how we can utilize Lockett because he's still good in many areas. He's not perfect. He's losing some of his skills, but I don't think we're yet at the point where we have to move off of him. Leave it up to Lockett. If he wants to retire, then put it on him. I'll be right back, guys. 1 second. All right, sorry. Just had to check on something real quick. And again, sorry the chat isn't showing up on stream. Very annoying. I'm going to have to figure out this restream stuff. Oh, Miles. Okay, hold on 1 second here. Would Harbaugh really leave Michigan to go back to the NFC West? How much money would it take? He might have to. There could be sanctions coming down on Michigan. That's possible. Well, maybe he has to leave for the same reason Carroll had to leave USC. Do you think we need to have two new quarterbacks completely? No. I don't know what that's going to do. I don't know what that's going to fix. We just here's the thing that kills me. We just gave up 530 yards in a game. A week after a game where we forced 0 punts and 0 turnovers, and people are talking about the quarterback. Our defense has had back-to-back games of peak incompetency, like some of the worst back-to-back defensive performances we have ever seen. And we're talking about, oh, we need a new quarterback. Like, it blows my mind. It really does. Oh my God, A.J. Brown fumbled. I think that's a fumble. Good night, Philadelphia. Can you please elaborate on why you said not to throw out routes to Lockett on previous videos? Oh, because he was being defended by DaRon Bland, and DaRon Bland is the master of picking off out routes. And also, out routes depend. We run so many out routes that I think cornerbacks in general are going to start cheating on it, and you don't want Lockett there because he's not fast enough to build separation with his pure speed. Well, I mean, promise we can easily top that offer. 5 years, 55 million isn't even that much. Like, didn't Sean Payton get double that? Like, money should not be any kind of a problem here. Jody Allen is one of the wealthiest owners in the league, and she did nothing to earn that money. It was all handed to her. So she should have no issues forking over whatever it takes if that is the path that they decide to go down. Do you think Jody is going to sell? She literally has to. We just don't know where, or excuse me, when. It's literally in Paul Allen's will that she has to trade. It's just we don't know when. It could be 20 years, it could be tomorrow. Well, it won't be tomorrow because she has to wait until after 2024. But it is overwhelmingly likely that she does sell, yes. Yeah, blaming Locke is such a weird thing. Like, he's the backup quarterback. Like, why would we even consider blaming the backup quarterback who gets tossed in there because of an injury and still actually produced a moderate number of points? Yeah, Sean Desai, that's one silver lining. That is one silver lining about this season. Sean Desai, as it turns out, just sucks. I mean, honestly, Locke could have thrown like 8 interceptions in this game, and I still wouldn't really have been upset at Locke. Like, at least then I would understand, theoretically blaming him, but there's no scenario where I'm going to get mad at Drew Lock for us losing a game. Do you think John Schneider deserves some slack for the trades in recent memory? Absolutely. I don't think he's the genesis of those trades. I think Pete is. John does the paperwork and does the actual discussion, but I'm pretty sure Pete goes to him and is like, I want this. Go get it. Again, we don't know what Pete and John do in this front office, but we can guess. I don't think John Schneider gives up all that draft capital for Jamal Adams. We know that he values his draft picks. The good news is Leonard Williams is actually pretty good. JS ruined our cap. I mean, here's my question. Did we literally have to do that? Or did he just do it to create room that we ended up not needing? That's the part that I don't know. Did he literally have to do that for us to get under the cap? Or did he just do it because he felt like it? Because, yeah, those decisions look awful right now. Well, yeah, Theron, I hear you when you say that. We gave up a second round pick in next draft for Leo. We need to resign him. I hear that, but at the same time, that's the mentality that never allows this team to rebuild. That's the mentality where Pete just gets to kind of drag things along forever instead of just nuking it, having one really bad season and then going for it. Like rebuilding doesn't take 5 years anymore. Rebuilding takes 1 year, especially with some of the young players we do have that are very good. One really bad season to maybe get, I don't know, Shadur Sanders or whatever quarterback you like next year, or whatever super duper blue chipper you like. I mean, I'm not a fan of tanking. I think tanking is dumb, but rebuilding and just being bad because your players aren't that good, that's different. Jordan Love might be better than Adams as well. I mean, they play completely different positions. I don't know how to compare those two. Pandalorian, is the lack of Nwosu the central reason for our defense looking so terrible this season? It can't be. If Pete Carroll's a defensive guru, if Pete Carroll's a good coach, he needs to find a way to make the defense play well without Nwosu. 1 second, guys. Okay. Sorry about that, but we're back. Hey, Carmine. Guys, like, I see people in the chat, like, getting upset at these players. Like, trust me, guys. These players would look a lot better with competent coaching staffs. Look at how good Julian Love was last year. Miles, thank you for the $1. Where's the run game been these past few weeks? We haven't had a 100-yard rushing game since the Commanders game. It's hard to run when you're always behind, and the interior offensive line has really deteriorated. Man, what is up with Philly tonight? Like, Julian Love was a really good player for the Giants last year. And now, most of the time, he just looks like he's barely NFL caliber. Think about that. Do you think Clint Hurtt has gone out of this season? I don't really care. I don't think it makes any difference. He might be, but I don't really care if he is or not. I don't think it's going to change anything. Does your tip link work? I think so, Marcus. People have been tipping. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me refresh the tip page. Aha. Marcus, thank you for the $10. Pete has failed at disciplined player readiness, hiring coaches, game planning, etc. I'm sick of all his excuses. Fire Pete. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate that. I mean, to me, more than anything, it's just the lack of common sense. Like, why is Geno playing at the end of a blowout against the Niners a couple weeks ago? Like, why is he still in the game? Why is Oluwatimi not playing over Evan Brown at this point in the season? And I know the answers to these questions, and the answers are so bad, I don't even want to have to say them because they're so antithetical to like basic common sense. Since the Russ trade was hurt their HOF stock more than him and Carroll. Oh, Russ, easily. Carroll's going to make the Hall of Fame, guys. Carroll is 100% going to make the Hall of Fame. His accomplishments in college football and pro football combined, he's easily making the Hall of Fame. Nothing he does now can change that. I don't think Russ is going to make the Hall of Fame now. So it's Russ and it's not even close. Why are we waiting until the game is over to go for it on fourth down? Should have been more aggressive. Yeah, I mean, we tried that last week and it didn't work, so he probably looks at that and goes, I guess I can't do that anymore. Never mind the fact that, you know, just because something doesn't work doesn't mean it was the wrong decision. Carroll is one of very few people in the history of the world to have a national title as a head coach and a Super Bowl as a head coach. I think it's him and what, Jimmy Johnson? And Jimmy Johnson was only a head coach in the NFL for like what, 8 years combined? No, Pete's getting in. Pete is probably the greatest defensive back coach in the history of the NFL. Like, I'm not here to act like Pete was never good or something. I'm not here to act like Pete didn't do great things. But I am here saying that he's not good anymore. Period. Yeah, Pete was a very good coordinator as well. Pete's resume is really, really impressive. Anybody arguing that Pete doesn't deserve to get in the Hall of Fame knows nothing about football. Like that's just goofy. We don't have to act like guys. We don't have to act like Pete was never good just because he's not good now. Come on. People change, people get worse, people get older. We don't have to make things up and be all revisionist. Yeah, Tomlin and Pete are very similar. That's a good point. Oh shit. Oh shit. Big man with football. Big man with football. Oh, he tried to do the Leon Let, but nobody caught him. I think a lot of I think a lot of Steelers fans wish they would just go through a 2-win season so they could get rid of um Tomlin, but I'm not sure. We can do better than Tomlin, guys. I don't want a defensive coach anyway. I want an offensive coach. Offensive coaches are the ones winning now. Look at the Super Bowl for like the last 5 years. The coaches on both sides are almost always offensive guys. As it turns out, Devin Witherspoon and Jalen Carter are both the exact same player. They are superstars on really, really bad defenses. Who knew? I think DK went like 2.5 quarters without getting targeted once, despite getting open constantly. That's the one thing that sticks in my craw about this game. How do you not start spamming it to DK when Charvarius Ward goes out? Who's the number one QB we could go for? Jaden Daniels, I guess. But I really, really want to be adamant about this. I don't think there's any way that we draft a quarterback in the first round. Miles, thank you for the $1 tip. Shout out to Kyle Shanahan. Feels like he's going to own the NFC West for a while. Got to give respect. I mean, we sure make it easy on him, don't we? We make it easy. I would be shocked if we spent a first or... Well, we don't have a second, but I would be shocked if we spent a first on a quarterback. I'm pretty sure we're going to take somebody that we think helps us in the immediate. Did you watch Pete's press conference? No, I never watched those, Mason. They're always stupid. When he talked about how the 49ers execution was better, it kind of felt like he was taking a subtle jab at the players. I don't think so. It's Pete's job to get the players ready for the game. Everything on this team goes back to Pete or John. If the players aren't good enough, Pete and John brought the players in. If the players aren't prepared, it's Pete's job to prepare the team. The coordinators aren't good enough, Pete and John are the one who brought in the coordinators. Everything goes back to Pete or John. 100% of it. There is not one part of this team that is not on their heads. Not one. Also, I think Pete Carroll is like 15th all time in wins as a head coach in the NFL. Yeah, he's definitely making the Hall of Fame. Like, there's no way he can be up there like that and not make it. Jordan, thank you for the $5. We have great memories with Pete. Pete is bad now. Both are true statements. Yeah, I don't know why that's so hard for some people. I don't know why they have to... Everything has to be some galaxy brain. Oh my God, I just made a discovery. Like, imagine if people used this season to say Mahomes was never any good. He was just a product of Tyreek Hill or something. No, 2018 was a good year. Guys, like 2018 was probably the best job Pete ever did. I'm not even kidding. That defense had no talent and it was above average because of Pete. It was next year when things got out of control. "2017, we had a ton of injuries. I don't put that on Pete. I didn't really start getting upset at Pete until like 2019 when we tried that stupid field goal against the Ravens and then he tried to justify it. Emphasis on the word tried. He failed. I mean, Columbo, you do understand he put together that team, right? Because he had personnel control then. Like, if it was a full all-pro team, it was because he did such a good job putting that team together. If we lose out, like, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to take drastic measures. Like, if we actually lose 8 games in a row, do you know how hard it is to lose 8 games in a row? If we lose 8 games in a row and Pete's still here, then I don't know. We're going to need to, like, protest at the VMAC or something. I'm done at that point. Like, if that actually happens, then, like, I don't know if any of you guys go to games. I don't know if any of you guys have season tickets or anything like that. But you got to get rid of those goddamn things. You got to dump those things like a hot potato if that's how little the team respects you. Okay, Daddy Dennis, I'm eating here. Knock that off. Daddy Dennis, that's fucking disgusting. I don't ever want to hear that shit from you again. Jesus. What the hell kind of comment is that? Fucking disgusting. I'm trying to fucking eat here. Who cares who the next head coach would be? I don't know, and I don't really care. I'm fine with Schneider. And here's my thing. Back in like the 90s, there were only a few good coaches in the NFL, and every other coach sucked. But now, every year, teams are hiring these assistants to be their coaches, and they're good. Like Shane Steichen is good, right? Or however you pronounce his name. What is it? Shane Steichen? He's good. Kevin O'Connell is good. Even Jonathan Gannon looks like he's good. Like over and over and over again, these we find out that you can find good coaches anywhere. Like back in the 90s, there were like 6 good coaches, and either you had one of them or you didn't. But now, good coaches come in all over the place. Stefanski's good. Yeah, that's another good one. Like, whenever you hire some assistant, Washi, stop spamming the same comment over and over. I don't really have anything to say to that. No, I didn't watch the Rams game, and I don't have anything to say to your comment. Stop spamming the same comment over and over, please. Like, it's really easy to find another good head coach. Why didn't we choose Keanu Benton? Because we didn't want. I mean, I don't know. We thought Derek Hall was the better player. Would you be interested in Frank Reich? I like him. Oh boy. I think that was the opportunity for Philly to really get back in this game, and it didn't happen. See, that's what I will say. We are not the only team that has an inexcusably bad defense. Like, Philly's defense should be top 3. And I don't even think it, and it might be bottom 10. Yeah, Nick Sirianni, too. Did anybody in this chat know who Nick Sirianni was before he got hired as head coach? And that guy's good. Good coaches pop up like daisies. I believe they are ranked below us. There's no way they're ranked below us. We're bottom 5. There's no way they're bottom 5. Are they? Yeah, no, they're not below us yet. After this game, they might be. Wow, after this game, Philly might be ranked a little below us. Yeah, DeBole's probably, or Daboll or whatever, is probably a pretty good coach too. Their defense is not mid-pack. Their defense is significantly worse than that. DeBoer's not going anywhere. Yeah, we definitely need to try to find the next McVay, Shanahan, O'Connor, O'Connell type. I'm done with these retreads. Like I don't like at a certain point it's like, okay, what do you want to do? Go get Tony Dungy to be your head coach? Shalamov, I mean, at this point it doesn't seem like he knows anything. So I got to be honest, I don't really want him involved in any capacity with this Seahawks team. But as long as he doesn't have any real power, it's fine. It's kind of like, remember when Disney bought George Lucas bought Star Wars from George Lucas and then gave him some role, but it really meant he didn't do anything. It could be something like that. They just wanted to say that George Lucas is involved in the creation of our Star Wars movies, but in reality, he didn't do anything. It could be like that, I guess. And I want to take this opportunity to remind people once again because a lot of people don't know this, and I think it's very damaging that they don't know this. Pete Carroll did not want to trade Russell Wilson. He fought to keep Russell Wilson. If Pete Carroll was in charge, Russell Wilson would still be our quarterback right now. You know how I know that? Because Evan Brown is still the starting center on this team. He doesn't give up on stuff ever. So if you're going to give somebody credit for the trade of Russell Wilson, it's not Pete that gets that credit. The only thing Pete did to make that trade happen was throw his hands up in the air and give up. Yeah, of course I'm streaming the Huskies game. I'm definitely streaming the Huskies game. Miles, thank you for the dollar tip. Shout out to Jordan Brooks playing with the ankle injury. I am very impressed that Jordan Brooks played in this game. Shout out to him. I mean, it is good he backs his players. Not when the players suck, Mr. Unlimited. Not when there's no benefit to it. There's no benefit to playing Evan Brown right now. Washi, I think it was 3 first-round picks we would have gotten, but I think would have also I think we would have used one of those picks on Justin Fields. So I'm not really upset about that because Justin Fields is terrible, and I'm not unhappy that we didn't end up with Fields. Like us getting Cross, Mafe, Witherspoon, and Hall, even though I know Hall's not playing well yet. I'm pretty happy with that. If we had traded him to the Bears, then we probably get Fields with that first round pick, and I think Fields is garbage. By the way, the Cowboys literally found this guy in a dumpster, and he's made every single field goal this year. Meanwhile, we gave the crown jewels to Jason Myers, and he's one of the worst kickers in the league. I just want to highlight that. It highlights how bad our process is as a team. We pay a kicker a ton of money to suck. Meanwhile, Dallas literally digs around in the dumpster and finds some random dude who plays soccer, and he's the best kicker in football. If Pete would just bring in a new young coordinator and let them have full control of the D, that's not going to happen ever. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. Pretentious Cameron, I hope you don't actually think that. You do realize that Jason Myers is not the only kicker in the NFL who's capable of making field goals, right? Like, if we had Brandon Aubrey, who makes every kick, we would have won all those games. Like, you do understand that just because Myers makes a bunch of kicks in one game doesn't excuse him from missing kicks in other games, right? Like, don't tell me people are still trying to defend Myers. I'm a lefty, yeah. I'm left-handed, yeah. Miles, thank you for the dollar tip. I feel like no matter who is our OC or DC, as long as Pete is here, who cares? Yeah, that's exactly the right mentality to have. No, I understand that, David, but the point is you could have spent less money on literally anybody else and they would probably be way better. Did anyone notice that we ripped that double screenplay fake to Parkinson right from Shanahan's playbook? He ran it against us last season at home. You're right. You're right. Yeah. We spend more money on special teams than I think any other team. And yet we don't have elite special teams play. So, what am I missing here, people? We actually spend more money on defense than any other team except the Niners, and our defense is god awful. Like, did you guys know that our defense is now significantly worse than Denver's? Denver gave up 70 points in a game, and now their defense is significantly better than ours. That's crazy. I don't know. It just, I haven't seen the Pete Carroll press conference yet, but my impression from what the little bit that I've seen on X, he had no real fire or anger or even real disappointment. He just kind of went through the motions. It's so disheartening to see that. Should we trade Leonard? Guys, the trade deadline was over like a month and a half ago. There's no trading. Like, and it does blow my mind that some fans are okay with the defense being this awful. I think a lot of them don't know how bad this defense is. I think if you told people that our defense is bottom 5 in points allowed, they would be like, "No, it isn't. What are you talking about? How is that possible?" And then you showed that to them, and they'd be like, "No way." Yeah, big country. That's why I think at this point the best thing you can do, I do kind of feel like the best thing you could do is just say next year is a screw it year. And 2025 is the target, which sucks. But I actually kind of feel like flushing things would be nice. Do you think this fan base holds on to the past too much? It seems like it. I don't know how else to put it. I defend Myers not because I think he's worth the money. I just don't think he's the reason we lost other than the Rams game. Missed kicks change momentum sometimes, though. Because you remember, when you miss a field goal, you usually give the other team really good field position. Like, think about that Cowboys game. Why are the Eagles calling a pass play 2 yards down the field on 3rd and 11? Well, I mean, I don't have a big problem with that, Jordan. I wouldn't mind a tanking season at all. My problem is we're not willing to do that because our coach doesn't believe in that. He said as much. What's wrong with having one bad season. Like Philly had one really bad season, and now they're good forever. Miles, thank you for the dollar tip. The very first play of today's game just shows us where this defense is right now. Terrible. Yeah, nobody's tired on the first play of the game. Oh, Eagles going for it. Wow, not even close. Man. Ugh. Colby Parkinson's touchdown catch today was the first touchdown by a Seahawks tight end this season. God damn. How is that a thing? I mean, Cam, it wasn't a bad call, though. Cam, like, he should be yelling at Tony. Tony lined up off sides. Why is he yelling at the ref? That's what confused me. I guess Andy Reid said that the referee's supposed to, like, tell the player that he's off sides. But how about you just don't line up off sides? Is it a coincidence that we are irrelevant in our own division since trading Russ getting swept by almost everyone now? I mean, that was the case Russ's last year here, too. We finished last in the division that year, so I don't think it's that simple. I think that it has more to do with Pete just not doing his job very well. I think Pete is okay with losing as long as the team fights and makes it close. That's kind of how I feel too, and that's a really bad feeling to have. Yeah, I don't think we're beating the Eagles, guys. This defense is way too bad. I think Philly will score as many points as they need to score to win. I really do. Well, Spencer, that's just another reason why he shouldn't be here anymore. Right, guy, thank you for the $1.99. Pete is. I mean, I can't disagree, right, guy. I can't disagree. The lack of common sense just blows me away. Like, again, like, forget about scheme, forget about play calling, forget about all that. How about you just take Geno Smith out at the end of a blowout? Like, why can't you even do that when he's playing injured? Yeah, I'm really hoping the Panthers hire Greg Olson as a head coach because one, it'll be hysterical. More importantly, he needs to get out of the booth. He's really bad at announcing. Yeah, he does, Jordan. He hates Pete Carroll, which, in fairness, I think most people in this fan base do now too. But it is very unprofessional. Green Watson, I hope you don't actually believe that. I hope you're just trying to be annoying. I really sincerely hope you don't actually believe that's true. Good Lord, the things people say. The things people actually try to convince people of. Good Lord. Jalen Carter jumped off sides. Take back the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. I mean, our pass rush, it's getting sacks, but I don't think it's generating that much pressure. I think there still is a lot to be desired there. If we finish below 500, better odds at QB first round? I don't think so, Jake. I don't. I don't feel like there's any way we pick a quarterback in the first round. I think Pete is still thinking that Gino's fine, which I more or less agree with. I don't have a problem with him thinking that. And he wants to address an immediate need, not a down the road need. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't mind going through a bad season. Like this team could go 6-11 this year. That wouldn't bother me if I believe that the long-term target of this team was still it was still looking up, but I don't believe that anymore because I'm looking at our processes and I think they're terrible. Honestly, I don't even want to spend draft picks on the defense, really. It seems like a waste of time. We already have good players on this defense, and the defense is awful. Players are not going to fix this. At least when we get better players on the offense plays better. Like, I think we would have a top 10 offense if we upgraded the left guard position. Like, that's kind of what I would expect or hope for. Who's Johnny Newton? I don't know who Johnny Newton is. Do you mean Jerzan Newton? I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that, but I would also say, like, how is that going to fix anything? Man, maybe there's no real difference between the Seahawks and the Eagles because the Eagles can't stop committing penalties either. They must have been blown for like two double-digit flags today. How is Anthony Bradford trash, John D? He just got here and he's super raw. Anthony Bradford's only made a few starts in his career. He barely played in college. John D, I hope, again, I keep using this line. I really hope you don't actually believe that and you're just like trying to annoy people. I hope you don't actually think that. Good Lord. The stuff people say, the things people say sometimes, it's crazy. All right, Berg Show. That's enough out of you. I mean, teams always go through like lulls, and Philly's going through a lull right now, but when Philly goes through a lull, at least they can keep winning most of their games. We can't win a single game. You gonna be on Twitch tonight? I think so. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be playing yet. I might do the Power Wash DLC. I might do Witcher. I might do Burgeria. I don't know yet. We don't know if Gino's going to play next week. Honestly, I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world if we just hold him out until we get past the really hard part of the schedule. Miles, thank you for the dollar tip. I know Pete loves his vet players, but not one snap for McIntosh. Yeah, that's another thing that is emblematic of the problem with Carroll. That is very emblematic of the problem with Carroll, I think. Why is Kobe Bryant not playing? He was having issues earlier this season. I don't think Kobe Bryant being out there would help anything. I can't start Paper Mario until I finish Mario Kart. Or not, or Mario Tennis. I really don't think Penix would do well on this team. I don't think Penix would cut it. Bryant is better than Jackson, isn't he? I don't know. Bryant has issues. The main thing about Bryant that's good is he's really good at forcing fumbles. There's another made field goal for Brandon Aubrey. Ah. I don't think Nwosu would change this all that much, guys. And even if he would, it doesn't matter. It's your job as a coach to win without having elite talent. Like you're not always going to have the best players. You need to find a way to make the most of what you have. And right now, he's not doing it. Bill Belichick has a top 10 defense this year. Think about that for a second. Bill Belichick has a top 10 defense. Do you think Gino's the starter for next season? I'm pretty sure he will be. I would be very surprised if it was anybody else. The only way that Gino's not the quarterback next year, I think, is if Carroll gets fired or retires and we bring in another head coach and he doesn't want Gino and he decides, I'd rather have my guy. Like, I don't even care if my guy is going to be worse. I just want my guy. I want Jaden Daniels. I want Jake Browning. I want Gardner Minshew or something. No, he's not hitting any incentives. Gino's definitely not hitting incentives. So we don't have to think about that. Yeah, I mean, like Jamal Adams embarrassed himself today. I'm not denying that. But I will say this. When you have Jamal Adams in coverage 40 yards down the field on 3rd and 11, you get what you deserve. So, to be perfectly honest, I'm not even I'm not even completely mad at um Adams. Like he should not be in that situation. That's stupid that we put him in that situation. Like he needs to be moving towards the offensive line of scrimmage at all times. Yeah, I mean, at least we got the Huskies, but I understand most people on this channel don't care about the Huskies. And for those people, this is just crappy. Well, Cross's development looks weird because he's probably playing through turf toe. I don't think that's an indictment on Cross at all. And actually, for most of the year that he has played, Cross has been totally fine. I don't agree about Cross at all. Woolen, I don't know what's going on with Woolen. I mean, it seems pretty simple at this point. He can't tackle. So after Philly gets done with us, because I'm pretty sure Philly's offense can dog walk our defense, we're probably going to have a bottom three defense, guys. I think we're passing the Colts and the Cardinals in incompetency. And we're down there with the Panthers and Commanders. There's still 9.5 minutes left in this game. I usually keep the stream going until after the game's over. Well, honestly, after a 5 game losing streak, how do you even get up? Like, think about that for a second. We've lost 5 in a row. We're 6-8, if that's where we are a week from now. If that's the situation, how does this team even nut up to even give effort in the last 3 games? Ron Rivera, you like him? That no. Ron Rivera would just be another Pete Carroll. Like, Ron Rivera is supposed to be another defensive guru, and his defense is the worst in the league. Come on, guys. Let's not try to make lateral moves here. Let's do something real. It's a cap hit on Adams next year. It's substantial. The only team spending more money on defense than the Seahawks this year is the 49ers. Would you hire? I don't want a defensive coach. I want an offensive coach. Defensive coaches, they're not seeing the results anymore the way that they used to. I want an offensive coach. Those are the guys who actually make deep runs now. Ryan Day or Lincoln Riley? Lincoln Riley kind of sucks. It's got to be Ryan Day, right? I don't know very much about Ryan Day, but Lincoln Riley is his stock is pretty far down the toilet. Oh my, come on, guys. Let's do better. Steve Sarkisian, the alcoholic. Mohammed Zaid, stop spamming chat with the exact same thing over and over. It's very annoying. Wow, Philly can't stop committing penalties. They are just like us. Miles, thank you for the $1 tip. Ben Johnson would be cool to think about, but it will never happen. I mean, reality is none of this is ever going to happen. Do you like Ben Johnson? I do. I wonder what... I got to ask what the hell's going on with the Lions right now, but I do like Ben Johnson overall. First down. Game not completely over yet. I don't know who Kirk Ferentz is, but Jack Del Rio just got fired as a coordinator. Like, if Jack Del Rio can't cut it as a coordinator, he definitely can't cut it as a head coach, I think. Oh my God, another fumble. He's not down. Nobody's touched him. What is up with the Eagles? Why can't they hold on to the ball? What the hell is wrong with you, Devonta Smith? How do you not hold on to the ball? Wow. I mean, it's a nice play, but these Eagles, they got some soul searching to do. Oh, okay. Nolan was trolling. Okay. I was thinking that was probably the case. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're probably a couple weeks away from this team being basically eliminated from the playoffs or completely eliminated from the playoffs. And when that happens, I'm not really going to have a problem with the team losing anymore, right? Like, at a certain point, there's nothing to gain. Michael, thank you for the $4.99. Love your content. What are 5 moves you would make to fix this team? Players or coaches? Love you, brother. Keep up the hard work. Get rid of Carroll. Stop spending so much on safety. Try to invest in a left guard. The thing is, we're kind of up against it cap-wise. I don't think we can do it. It's really hard to because we're still going to be paying Diggs and Adams so much money even if we get rid of them. I think Dion's going to quit in a couple years and be done with the whole coaching thing. Seahawks are landing in Seattle in 25 minutes from now. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information. Do you think KJ's podcast sugarcoats? Okay, guys, I get so many comments from Pete defenders trying to tell me that I need to shut up about criticizing Pete because KJ Wright says that it's not Pete's fault. Guys, I could not care less what KJ Wright says about anything. One, he probably has very severe CTE. And two, he played almost his entire NFL career with Carroll. He won a Super Bowl with Carroll. He became a really good player with Carroll. He made a Pro Bowl with Carroll. Of course, he's going to be biased. He's not going to have a rational stance on anything revolving around Pete Carroll. That's his dude. None of those guys are. They know Pete Carroll is a great coach who had a lot of success because KJ Wright was here for the good years. Like, seriously, when you hear you're going to find people out there who defend Pete. Consider the source. Consider who has an agenda. Consider the people who would be irrationally biased. Also, consider that the only beat reporter who was ever willing to like ask hard questions of Carroll got reassigned. Joe Fan. Joe Fan used to grill Carroll, and he doesn't have that job anymore. There's a connection there. You can't grill Carroll, he gets you run out of there. Oh my goodness, that's disgusting. I'm sorry. Wow. Philadelphia, man. No answers on defense. Looks very familiar. Getting somebody like KJ Wright to criticize Pete Carroll is like trying to find a 12-year-old kid willing to criticize Logan Paul. It's not going to happen. What kind of question is that, Ghost? What kind of question is that? Who would I rather have? One of the best coaches in the league or one of the worst? Like, what? Crazy. Who would you rather have, Patrick Mahomes or Zach Wilson? Miles, thank you for the dollar tip. Shout out to Dylan Johnson. He deserves a lot of credit for the Oregon win bow down to Washington. Yeah, at least one of my teams is having a lot of success this year. I have no idea what to expect when we play these teams in the playoff, though. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm down with it. Jeebus. Do you think we will beat Texas? I do. But then I have no idea what to expect in the next game. I mean, first we have to figure out who we're going to play, I guess. Yeah, the Witherspoon pick was definitely the right move, guys. I don't think they're. I don't know why people are still so confused about this. Like, Witherspoon is ridiculously good. Think about how good he's doing right now and think about the fact that he's doing it on this god awful defense. Think about that. It wasn't originally a remote job, Cameron. It was a normal office job, and then during COVID we transitioned. Yeah, I still don't really believe that Dallas is going to be able to deal with the Niners when it comes down to it. I still think deep down I think the Cowboys are Mike Tyson's. Marcus, that Arch Manning thing is way too far in the future. If we wanted to do that, that's something we can do in future years. We don't have to do that now. Arch Manning might not come out until like 2028 with the way the NIL works. If Arch Manning is good, he might stay there until like 2028. Like, I don't think we can look that far into the future. Yeah, I think that if the Niners and Cowboys play each other in the playoffs, the Niners are going to destroy them. They match up well with the Eagles, though. You know, Tariq Island, who cares? Come on, guys. Let's worry about real things here. Yeah, CJ Stroud's pretty awesome. I would have been cool with that. But at the time, I didn't think CJ Stroud was generational. It looks like he is. Michael Mathis, thank you for the 1999 super chat. Wow. Carroll has had his time. He's iconic in Seattle forever. He brought us a ring, but it's time. That was a decade ago. Look at Belichick, 6 rings and now on the hot seat. Blind coach loyalty gets you mediocre at best. Given how bad this defense is, I don't even think we're getting mediocre, but I don't know why this is so hard for some people. I don't know why this is so hard for some people. It was a fun run, but don't you want to get back on top at some point? Don't you want to at least have the opportunity to? Yeah, thank you, Michael Mathis, though. Appreciate that. Diggs is playing with zero passion for a guy that was begging to get paid. I know it's very, he's very uninspiring out there. At least Adams is playing with fire. He's just not good. Do you think DK might leave? We just extended him. Like, why would he leave? I can't see that happening unless we want him to leave, which we shouldn't. I've said this before. Sometimes it feels like Pete Carroll is playing like this game of Survivor. It feels like Pete Carroll's playing a game of Survivor where his only goal is to get everyone else voted off the island. It doesn't really matter if the team is good. He just needs the team to blame other people when things go bad. Cam J, guys, who cares if a player unfollows the team? That's goofy. Come on, guys. That's just what players do. I don't blame him for being frustrated, though. Uh, Save for the culture. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to the channel. I think DK would easily be worth $25 million a year if you just threw the ball to him. Like, just run comeback routes with him. They're unstoppable. Like, what can you do to stop a DK Metcalf comebacker? It's almost impossible. Romo Dunzy Masterclass against Texas. That's another tip from Miles, by the way, that I missed. Thank you, Miles. Bow down to Washington. I mean, we're going to have to throw the ball on Texas because you don't run on them. You don't run on that team. 283, thank you for the $1.99. How would you handle the S position this offseason? I would go cheap and young. I want to see Jarek Reed. I want to see Kobe Bryant. I want to see those guys. Yeah, exactly, AA. DK could have had like 200 yards today, I think. He was getting open. DK would have either gotten 200 yards or not. San Fran would have had to like really hard cover him. Man, everybody's leaving. Everybody's leaving the stream. They know it's about to wrap up and nobody really wants to talk about this team anymore. Brandon Aubrey. He makes it again. This guy doesn't miss. Can't relate. Yeah, Purdy's not that good. I mean, Purdy's a good quarterback, but he's not all that. Yeah, Kadarius Toney was very obviously offsides. I mean, with his contract, we can't really trade Metcalf, so there's not much we can do about it. He's just going to have to suck it up. Like, if DK doesn't want to be here, then what? Is he going to give that money back? He can't. So, if he asks for a trade, you tell him suck it up. Yeah, James, I think it depends on whether or not your subs are public or something. I don't know exactly how it works. Some subs show up and some don't. I don't know what the logic is. Minute and 8 seconds left. So when the game's over, I'm turning the stream off. And I'll probably be live on Twitch tonight. All right, Philly's running the clock out. Yeah, I'm going to be very, very unhappy if I have to watch the Eagles. No, I'm sorry, not the Eagles, but the Niners win the Super Bowl 2 years after watching the Rams win the Super Bowl. Like, you guys are not ready for me. Miles, thank you for the $2 tip. Thanks for the stream, Brendan. See you tomorrow for Snap Count Monday. Go Hawks. All right, see you later, Miles. Appreciate that. All right, well. This was fun, guys. Thanks for coming out. Wish I had something better to say, but I don't. See you guys